Welcome to the Nordic Mythology podcast. I'm Daniel Farrand, owner of the company Hans Vodin, and I'm joined as always by Dr. Mathias and Daniel.
Hello, everybody. We're joined this time by Katrine Stenbekk from the band Kalandra. Welcome to the show, Katrine.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for putting up with that chaotic 15-minute intro that we had pre-show.
It's totally fine. This is how it always is with like any technical stuff, so I'm used to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good.
You think we would be used to it, but we're not. We're still terribly bad and need Shan to come and save the day every time.
I mean, to be fair, we are running a podcast across 2 continents, across the Atlantic Ocean, with our tech guy sitting all the way over in Portland on the American West Coast. So, I mean, you can cut yourself some slack.
So basically what you're saying is everybody cut us some slack.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
It's all...
So I'm recording from Oslo for the first time out of my own little studio. So for the first time ever, I get to hold a microphone in my hand like I'm really cool, which I've been wanting to do for the last 117 episodes. I feel, feels good. And I also brought Usher with me. So anybody who's watching this on YouTube after or is listening, if you haven't listened to the episodes about Usher, apparently he's a thing now. And somebody sent me a CD. And he's my spirit animal. I brought him to Oslo, and he's going to come to every recording I need to do. So,
nice.
There we go.
I'm in Oslo too. Woo.
Oh, nice.
That makes 2 of us. Matthias, you're the odd one out.
Yeah, just stuck in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, Oslo is beautiful.
Lovely.
The more I come here, the more I enjoy it. I like it here.
Good. You gonna move there?
Nice.
Possibly. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what will happen? All right. Should we jump into your music? Because I've really enjoyed the day listening to your back catalogue. It's been good fun.
Thank you.
So do you want to tell us? I know you wanted to start with maybe by telling us a little bit about you and who you are.
Yeah. I am Katrine Stenbekk, and I am the singer and writer in Kalandra. And recently I've also started doing backing vocals for Wardruna, which is super fun. So yeah, that's my 2 main obsessions in life, I would say, right now.
Mm-hmm. It's all music based.
Yeah.
Should we? Okay. Those are some pretty cool obsessions, I'd say.
Yeah.
They're not bad, are they? They're not bad. Okay, before we start, you do have a very British accent for a Norwegian lady.
Thank you so much. I studied music actually abroad in UK in Liverpool.
How unfortunate. How unfortunate for you.
You wish I had a Scouse accent, lads. But I studied there for 3 years, had a bachelor, and then I lived 2 more years just to sort of like get to know the local community and the music scene, and just travel around the UK a bit more. So that's probably why. But I've also picked up on languages quite fast as a kid. So I think there could be something to it. By the way, I should warn you, I have always had it my whole life, a bit of a stammer. So if I do that, just bear with me and don't finish my sentences. Take it as an exercise in learning how to be patient. So yeah. I just wanted to also just tell the viewers, because you might be like, oh, well, what's going on? Is it this audio quality, or is it something wrong with Kat? Yeah, it's me. It's all me.
So does that disappear when you sing? Does that just...
Yeah, I guess that's kind of ironic. It's once you add melody to your words, I guess it just goes away. And I mean, the irony is probably that it was the best way for me to kind of make myself heard, or to express myself, quite possibly, through singing and music. Yeah, it's a bit cheesy, but I do think that there's something to it for sure.
So famously, I guess for anybody who's British or saw like the earlier pop idol back in the day, there was famously Gareth Gates, who had a terrible, really, really bad stammer, very kind of debilitating to him, I guess. And as soon as he sang, it kind of disappeared. It just wasn't there, and it's always intrigued me as to why that happens.
Yeah, me too. I did go to therapy for a bit just to figure it out, amongst other things. But I don't know. It could be there's a lot of theories, but if you're a nervous person or if you're a bit of a sensitive child and you get overwhelmed with probably like speaking up in class, well, what do you think, Kat? And it's like, and or like if you get yelled at as a kid, it could also possibly trigger it. There are some theories, but I couldn't possibly say. It just sort of is what it is, and it comes out in stressful situations. There we go. But usually, like, I'm fine, and it really helps for me to kind of put the demon on display and be like, I stammer sometimes. Here we are. And then sort of now we've chucked that out the window. Yeah.
That makes sense, because once you've mentioned it, it's not, you at least then know people aren't wondering what's going on, which kind of relaxes things, I guess.
Yeah. And I also just like, I hang out with people I trust and my friends, and so usually it's not really a problem, but it could be an issue if I were to like sit in an interview with important people or like do a podcast. But that's why. But yeah, I feel really comfortable here though. But yeah, just to tell you a bit.
That's because you saw the shitstorm before the show. No wonder you feel comfortable. Can't get any worse than that.
And I felt completely at home.
So you mentioned not to finish your sentences. Is that something that really pisses you off, or does it make it worse?
No, it doesn't piss me off. I mean, people get excited, when they're speaking. It's not like that. I think it's more like if you were silenced as a kid and you had trouble, or like if people were restless to hear you being able to express yourself and not giving you the patience that you need, then it can, maybe it could. I mean, that is at least something I can remember, and it would stress me out. And I would always feel like when I spoke to people, I would have to tell them right now everything you need to know, that I couldn't take my time. But it's something I'm really working on in my everyday conversation, that I can really take my time. And it's not, I get, it's not really my problem if people feel like it's going too slow or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I haven't noticed it at all. You probably have a better grasp on English than I do, so you're going to hear me stutter and mess things up a lot anyway. So
it's fine. We're all in this together.
We are. So okay, perfect. Let's talk about music, I guess. Do you want to start with Kalandra or Wardruna?
Kalandra is my baby. Wardruna is not my main project, so I couldn't Absolutely. Say it's. I'm just participating to.
Let's start there, because I feel like it'll be a shorter conversation, and we can start with, I guess, just what it's like to tour with a behemoth that is Wardruna, because that must be quite surreal.
It is quite surreal. I although I had 2 years to think about it, because I got a call from Maynard, I think it was in 2019 or like beginning of 2020, and he was like, yeah, we have some concerts in Norway, and we've been thinking sometimes that we travel with the various people, and we have some singers, and you're just like, yeah, what are you trying to say? Well, it could be, me and Lindy have been talking, and maybe
he
could be
dragged it out
nice
today.
with, yeah, it could be nice with like a second backing singer, and I was like, yeah. And I was on, yeah, just wondering, if you've wanted to join for just a few concerts, we'll see how it goes. And I was like, yeah, yes, I mean, yeah, I can do that.
Actually, it sounds like you answered quicker than he asked. Like he dragged it out, and you was like, yeah.
Yep. And it's like, it's weird though, because like I could have taken the initiative myself, because I've thought about the same thing. It would be nice if someone harmonized with Lindy. I thought about it watching YouTube videos live and hearing them live as well. I was like, oh, it would be awesome, like if there was just like a little choir. And then, but I think it made it easier to ask me, since I was now on the label by Norse. So it kind of made sense. Like maybe they thought, well, we have someone now who can sing. Why don't we just ask her? So I guess that's why, and I'm super grateful to be part of it. And my role as a singer is, I do have to like switch my mind a bit, because in my own band, it's a bit more like I have to take more control and focus when I'm on stage, whilst I'm fully aware that like in Wardruna, my main goal is to sort of back up whatever Einar and Lindy is already doing. I'm just making sure that everything kind of like sits well harmony wise. So yeah, but it's really nice, and it's really super nice to be part of an organized team where I don't have to organize everything. I don't have to be in full control of everything. Like being on tour with Kalandra, it's a completely different scenario where we've built everything ourselves from the ground up, getting to know the people, trying to find a team who wants to work with us. And touring, we booked tours ourselves for the past 8 years, and then like on the 9th year we were like, I think a booking agent is finally interested. Yeah,
that's a beautiful journey, and you know exactly what goes into it all. I do want to pull it back and say I think you're doing yourself a disservice thinking that he asked you just because you were on the label. You have a beautiful voice, and I think he asked you because you're the right person for the job, not because you were just quote unquote there, I guess.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I feel confident in my voice, obviously, but yeah, we like gradually gotten to know each other through the years, so maybe it felt natural to reach out. I guess is what I'm figuring. But yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, it sounds like obviously like Kalandra's obviously you said yourself, it's your baby, it's your project. Let's go on to that, because I feel like that's where your heart really lies.
Yeah, well, it lies with Wardruna as well, very much. But yes, Kalandra,
ever the diplomat there.
I don't have favorites. Kalandra, I started in 2011 when I went to the UK to study music, and I was like, okay, this is it. If now I'm actually studying, spending a lot of money, going here, and I have to act like there's no turning back now. Now I have to actually really, it kind of pulls your worst fears out of you. Like, what if you fail? But it's super important to be confronted with those fears and just sit with them and be like, it's okay. Like I can't really fail though. I will only learn. And I might fail on my way, but like it's a learning process getting me to where I want to be. And it's okay. And but I think every human being is faced with that sort of fear of like, should I follow my dreams? Are they too far out, or should I go with something that is safer, easier, not so much a strain on me as on my emotions.
You have to you have to always follow your dreams. I think it takes a good, it takes a big person to actually take those steps as well. You know, I've been there with Hans Bodin. You know, I grew to a certain size and then got to a point where I either go full time or I carry on trying to do both and kill myself working too much. And you've got to it takes a lot to take that leap into what you want to do. It takes a special person to do that, because so many other people just shy away and take the easy route.
But the thing is, though, it can really drain you. So before I was like, you have to go for your dreams. But I think I was also just like trying to convince myself that this is the right way to go. Whereas the truth was that I was scared too. I was always scared. And there is no guarantee, even if you are working towards and trying to be everything you think you need to be in order to make it, there is no guarantee. But I think what I found is that there are actually, with time, once you get to a certain level and you get to know the right people, you can sort of almost like feel it, that, oh no, it's coming. There are some guarantees now if I kind of lay my cards out right. I guess what I was going to say before was also that I'm not sure if I would recommend for everyone to just follow their dreams. I should say that. I mean,
certainly not blindly.
No,
Matthias, if you'd have followed that dream of being a drum and bass DJ, who knows where it would have been? I can't remember if we mentioned that on the main show or it was on the bonus episode on Patreon, but Matthias has some secret drum and bass
awesome
that he's made.
We can laugh about it, but if it's serious, you should do that.
Oh no, definitely not serious. This was something I was fiddling around with 20 years ago. Like there was nothing serious about that. Maybe even
but I think my point with what I was saying earlier, though, is that it can to be faced with a no thanks, we don't want you. When you're doing what you love, it can be such a freaking slap in the face that hurts so bad, and it can like go deep into the core of your soul, and you'll think that I'm not. I don't have what it takes, and it can really ruin a human being. So you have to be very aware that people might crush you. Are you prepared to that, but still sort of pursue, or is it just too much for me? Maybe I don't want it that badly. Maybe it's just something I like to do as a hobby, and that's fine. So yeah, I think
sorry, continue.
No, well, now I'm just starting to ramble, really. I'm just talking, but I think it's important to have a very serious kind of self-aware talk with yourself about, what do I really want?
Yeah, I mean, you like, regardless of what you're pursuing in terms of like your dream, right? You will run into shut doors. Everybody has had that experience. Like even the most famous, accomplished singers,
I think anything,
writers,
but you don't hear too much about it. You only sort of see the success of someone. And I will tell you, because we signed with By Norse in 2020 for the Line album with Kalandra. But in 2017, I wrote Simon Fullman, who's like the CEO. I wrote him in 2017 because we had this EP called Beneath the Breaking Waves, and I was like, what do you think, Simon? I think you could be like the right man for like our music. And he was like, right, let's set up a meeting. And he saw me, and I was a bit nervous. I wasn't fully sure if I believed in it. I just wanted to hear someone else say that, yeah, this is the shit. I believe in you. But it's all on you. You can't rely on anyone to believe in you. And he saw that straight through me. And I'm gonna be vulnerable here about myself. But I asked him, just like, tell me, do you think that we have what it takes? And Simon sat back in his chair, looked at me and was like, you tell me. And I was freaking crushed. And I was like, I should never have asked that question. And we did not sign. He did not sign us in 2017. We were not ready. I'm quite happy about it now, because maybe we weren't ready. And in 2020, I was like, oh, yeah, you think this is the shit, huh? I think so too. But like, do you, Simon, think that this is the shit? And they were like, yeah, this is quite good stuff. And I'm like, all right, then let's have a talk.
Sometimes you have to just tell them it's the shit, though. But that's a lot of people find that tough. I think we were saying in the chat about imposter syndrome. Everybody gets it. I still get it about this fucking podcast. When I was doing trading at London Comic Con and somebody came around and was talking about the stall, and they was like, oh yeah, they have a podcast. I was like, oh, so you've heard my voice quite often then? And I was like, yeah. And then someone else came around and was saying they love the podcast and how he really admires everything we do, Matthias. And I was like, that's insane. You're clearly a crazy person. What do you mean you like admire me? So I think everybody gets that, but you've just got to push. You got to push through. And I know you say not everybody can chase your dreams, but not everybody can reach their goals or their dreams. That's just the fact of life. Life's not fair. Everybody's not created equal, but you can at least try. And maybe if you get knocked back like you did in 2017, some people that might be too much for, and then they give up and they go and do something else. But it takes the ones who are going to make it are the ones who keep knocking at that door until the door gets knocked down. And you see, whether it's any Hollywood actor, any musician, even down to probably like TikTok stars or Instagram models, you only see the success, and everybody forgets about the work that goes in before. So like you say, you signed with Binos in 2020. You had 9 years of hard graft before that. That people don't see that now. They listen to your albums and they think this is a really polished, great album, but they don't see the 8 years of you booking your own tours and having to go through the hustle, go through the stride. And not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody's able to do that. No. I think people forget the body of work that goes into making something. And when they're like striving to get to that next level, they kind of look and go, oh, it must have been easy for them because they just rocked up to Simon and were like, is this the shit? And he's like, yeah, this is the shit. Let's fucking do it. And it's not like that. I think people forget that.
Yeah. I
had my profound moments.
That was a very profound moment. I'm pretty sure if I were to take up my my passion for drum and bass again.
I still need these CDs.
Whatever makes you happy and makes you feel good, do it.
Yeah, no, drum and bass doesn't make me happy though.
Okay then. I don't want to laugh in case it's serious. I don't want to laugh at you in case this is like the real deal.
There's nothing serious about it. This is just something Dan likes to tease me with because I offhanded mentioned that I was doing that back when I was in high school.
You know what? I'm actually making what's it called, like top lining vocals, like you put your vocals on top of an already finished production on EDM tracks, like dance tracks. And I used to do that whilst doing Kalandra. It was like a way to make me some money because I wouldn't be performing with them, but I'd be writing tracks for a lot of different people. And like when you register properly and everything, the money would like gradually come in from all these different producers, and I could just focus on my band.
Right.
So, but it's actually I quite like good progressive dance music, like Deadmau5 and stuff. That makes me in a really happy, jolly mood, to be honest.
So okay, so it wasn't like selling your soul while doing the thing that you want to do, kind of thing.
Oh no. I did.
Sometimes you got to do that. You got to do what you got to do to get to where you want to be. And sometimes
look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger had to make porn before he could become the Terminator, right? So
did he?
I did not know that.
Not know that?
I need to find these. I need to find these videos.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I just blew everybody's mind.
Yeah, I didn't
I thought
know
it was
that.
common knowledge that he made at least one porno back in the 70s, but I'm pretty sure several actually.
Frederick said, wasn't it Sylvester Stallone? Maybe, I don't know. It's one of
Uh,
them. Let's just say
yeah,
alleged.
maybe
Let's say
both.
allegedly. Let's say allegedly after just in case.
Allegedly.
Yeah, there we
yeah.
go. So this might make you feel better, Matthias. When I was younger, I used to get the
Don't say porn. Don't say
not
porn.
not porn. So I used to get the little tape recorders on the and used to be able to record directly to them from like the radio. So and I used to have like a little microphone. I used to make my own little radio shows. So I'd be like, which is quite weird now to say I do a podcast, but like I'd record the song on the radio and then stop it, and then I'd do like a little introduction and the radio talk, and then I'd record the next one and make these little radio tapes. Don't know why I did it. No idea why I did it. Probably, I'm glad they don't exist.
I did that too, actually. Yeah. Now that you're saying it, I did that too with my friends. It was like a Microsoft movie maker or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did on my own in my bedroom.
Awesome. That's awesome. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you lying to me like that, but okay.
It's a passion. Anyway.
It was something. It was something. Okay, yeah. So today was the first time I got to sit down with my headphones on and really listen to both.
Okay. It's just this. I was just my own Shan here because we don't have Shan on today, and I googled whether or not Schwarzenegger did porn. At this on Cracked.com, we have a headline that says Schwarzenegger did a creepy soft porn travel video in 1983. So there you go.
Wow.
There we go.
And now he's a governor. What?
He was.
Chase,
no longer.
Chase your dreams, kids. Don't worry about
your dreams.
That's
Do what you love.
And there's a bunch of Pornhub and other like porn sites with Schwarzenegger on it, but I'm afraid to click on them. So
we will check
explore those.
I'm not against it. I mean, hey.
Oh no, I mean, hey, whatever floats his boat.
Do whatever you need to do to get to where you need to be, as long as it's not illegal. All right. So yeah, I got to listen to The Line and The Kingdom Two Crowns today. I listened to both back to back. I had my headphones on. I was kind of just doing work, and it was a very kind of profound experience for me. I loved it. I've been going through some, as I mentioned on the last podcast, I've been going through some kind of personal stuff recently, and it was I found it very kind of emotional listening to your voice. And I actually stopped halfway through the line and messaged you and like, you have a really fucking beautiful voice. And like it was fun to listen to. Just all credit to your talent. You have a very good voice. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
So
it means a lot.
Good. Okay, so obviously the latest album is very Nordic inspired.
Yeah, it is. It's quite different from the Line album, but like these two gaming companies reached out to us. I think it's Stumpy Squid and Raw Fury. They make all of these kinds of indie games, and I think they had heard the cover of Helvegen, and they thought, would you be able to do something similar, but like without too much vocals, or like if you have vocals, which we want, but make it sort of part of the arrangement like an instrument. We need like atmospheric music for this game called Kingdom Two Crowns, and we're going to make a new world called Norselands, and it's based on Nordic Norse mythology, but it'll be also a bit like Norse fantasy. With spells and stuff, and I thought this is a great new challenge. We need something new to dive our heads into. It's a great challenge for me as well as a producer. So we were like, yeah, let's do that. And it was super fun, and I would like to do it again, but it was we were not prepared for the amount of pressure that there is in the gaming world, like deadlines and stuff. You can't just like take your time and feel it. spend time just like thinking about what does this track need. You just kind of have to like be like go and just make the track. And but it was super fun. And also the names of the tracks that are in this album are sort of based upon Nordic mythology, and some is more like earlier Norwegian folklore. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to do much research into each one for the music wise, for like into like I guess into the mythology for each song, or was
that's a good question, because before this I would say with how we grew up, we sort of took our this Norse mythology and our folklore kind of bit for granted. It's kind of like we grew up with some stories, and I was always interested in archaeology and stuff like that, and I'd read articles about new finds, but I wasn't diving deep into the Elder Edda and the sagas and the and stuff like that until I think it's weird because it's been like a gradual kind of climb where I fell in love with Wardruna, obviously, and its music, and then decided to do a cover of Helvegen because I thought we can definitely do that, and I'll put my vocoder on it. It'll be awesome. And then they liked what we did, and then sort of was asked to become a backing singer with Wardruna, and I became even more into it. And then I started sewing my own clothing the old way. I took a course with like a reenactment woman named Astrid Bryde. I learned how to sew my own linen tunics by hand the old way, and then we got this gaming thing, and it all sort of like it was sort of like a natural process where I dive deeper and deeper into this world. And because of the game also, we were sort of also forced a bit to read more into it, and we did, and it's so rich. It's so rich. Yeah, that's why all the songs are called like Eikthirnir and Ferden. Yeah. Helheim.
Yeah, it takes a grip of you, doesn't it, Matthias?
I guess so.
Yeah, it's so rich, and I was kind of oblivious to the whole realm before, just taking it for granted. Like I've always been, for me, what kind of made me interested. Gosh,
there we go, little pop up. Hey, at least it wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger porn.
You're gonna have to cut this out of your podcast when you post it.
No, we'll leave it in. We'll leave it in. We're raw.
Where was I?
You were taking things for granted.
Yes, but the main reason that I write the music in Kalandra is like I've always been inspired by female vocals and folk songs from all over the world, whether it's like Bulgarian folk songs or Mongolian throat singing, which I can't do, but super inspired, and Icelandic songs, Norwegian folk songs, Scandinavian in general, even like Arab songs and Indian music. Like the way that they use their voice has always been very inspiring, and that's where my reference comes from. But then I also have three other guys with me in the band, like Oscar, Florian, and Jorgeir, and they also have their influences from Pink Floyd to Tesseract to Gojira to stuff like that. So it's always like combined. We combine everything, and then recently the Nordic culture and the Norse culture has become more and more ingrained in our brains in a way, and it's influencing us whether we like it or not.
Are you all based in Oslo? Where how did you all meet? Did it start out as your idea and then you found the three other members, or was it a collective creation?
I started Kalandra in 2011 in Liverpool when I was studying
Okay.
music. The most random place you could start a band, but I started it there.
I think there's a lot of musical history in Liverpool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
But like,
right?
but not maybe for this kind of music. I don't know.
No.
But it's sort of, but it was there, and that's where I met Guide and Florian as well, because they were studying music there as well. There's quite a few Norwegians there. I guess it's sort of like a melting pot for all kinds of nationalities, which was great for us. And we had several different members from Canada and the Isle of Man as well during those times. And then we decided in 2015 to move away from Liverpool, come back to Oslo, and live here in the capital, because the music business is here and it's easier to travel from all over the world, and Norway is our home country. And then Oscar joined a bit later in 2018, I think. He's from Sweden. But it's like half Norwegian, half Swedish. But he speaks Swedish.
So you let him in. You let him in because he's half.
It's okay.
He snuck. All right, he snuck past. He snuck past.
Yeah, but like he was so. I mean, it was fantastic. He was just the perfect right choice. Very calm man with very heavy beats and aggression to his drumming, which was just perfect. So yeah, I'm very careful now about who I take into the band. We could expand at some point later in the future, but I'm very careful about who I pick. Like, obviously they can be good and decent musicians, but if they're not okay people, and if they're not organized, if they don't know how to deal with life's, then obviously we all have our phases, but like I need security and stability in terms of where our career is going. I would say.
Of course, if it's the project clearly started out as your baby, and you're very passionate about it, and it's hard to just let anybody in. They have to be people that you trust. They're going to be able to take it to. If anybody you bring in, they have to be able to take it to that next level and have the trust of you as well.
There's also the functionality of it all, right? I mean, we all know the story of especially the heavy metal band in the 80s that collapsed because, it was made up of douchebags, right? Great musicians, but douchebags. So,
and then people don't talk about, people forget to talk about like who owns the song. For example, it's a very uncomfortable talk to have, like how many % do I get? But it's super important to have that talk, and I want to be as transparent as possible. We all do, and we sit down and we have like days where we sit down with that Excel sheet and it's like, right, but why do you think you deserve 20%? Because of this and this and that, and I made that. Remember, I was there in the room, and I was like, okay, that's a fair point, let's put that down. Would you be able to share a bit more with, let's say, so we sit there and we adjust and we make things proper, make sure that everyone's sort of happy, that it's all fair.
That's a good point, because obviously, again, if you bring somebody else in, you got to share that money. So they have to at least pull their weight, or at least be enough to earn it,
and be content to be sort of happy, the Scandinavian way, sort of happy.
Content.
There's nothing wrong with being content.
No, not at all. It's just I just love how, especially Americans love to point out to us Scandinavians, oh, it's the happiest countries in the world, blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, we're content. But
there's lots of suicides. There's lots of suicides as well. And in Sweden especially. So I mean, you could but I think that could be the weather. I don't know.
I don't think so.
when you have like 5 months without sunlight, like the demons just kind of get the best of you, and you're like, oh, I don't know.
I I grew up in Greenland, so I'm happy with my demons. You know.
Yeah, I guess Aurora said it perfectly. Like my demons and was it greeting me as a friend.
There
That's
you go.
kind of also what it's about. Kind of accepting the parts about you that are a bit dark, and not being
Absolutely.
scared of your thoughts.
Everybody has their own demons. You've just got to be comfortable with them or accept them. As long as they're nothing too bad. But we all
you're trying to put a backstop to like Ted Bundy, right? That's what you're doing here.
I can have some really dark stuff going through my mind, just like standing in a queue, like, what would happen if? What if there was a robbery happening right now? What would
Oh, you know how many times?
It's just like
I can't believe I'm going to say this. You know how many times I've been in the queue and wondered like if there's a robbery going on and then I get to save the day. Ooh, I've had that thought so many times.
It's an interesting thought. I think it says a lot about maybe like we all kind of want to be heroes in the everyday life. So it's an interesting thought to have. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have it. I used to have that a lot. Maybe not so much now I've grown up, but when I was younger, I was like, I used to always, I don't know if fantasize is the right word, but just think of, oh, well, what if this happened now and I could do this? And they would never work out like that, but I always got to be the good guy there.
Sometimes I think, what if I was the robber?
Oh, you want to be the
never
robber?
Mind. Oh, it's my turn in the queue. Never mind.
So you got the other way. You got to be the bad person.
See, like you're building yourself up.
Whatever thought comes in, I'm like, oh, what kind of thought is this? Oh, and then I just let it pass, like in meditation, to just like, it means nothing. It's okay. Let it pass.
Well, no, that's reassuring though. Like I was seeing the situation of you standing in a line somewhere in the grocery store, like building up to robbing, and then he's like, you can open this door or that door right as you walk up to the cashier.
I think everybody has these thoughts, but they get scared of themselves. Like, oh, no, why would I think about that? Why would I fantasize about stuff like this? But just like, it's okay. It's like you didn't choose this thought. It just came to you, maybe because of something you saw on TV yesterday. It's okay.
Here in America, they have this, as I posted about on Instagram yesterday, or the day before yesterday, or something like that. They have this like tendency to ask you, "How are you doing? What are you gonna do this weekend?" Blah blah blah. They have this whole conversation with you. A lot of the people behind a counter in any kind of store, and you know that of course like that throws you off immediately. It's like whatever thoughts you had in your head, all of a sudden you have to like respond to something like that. And you know, if you're an awkward Scandinavian like me and they say like, "Oh, you have any plans for the weekend?" I'll be like, "No." And that's that.
Oh, I knew a barrel of laughs.
I'm probably the one who's like,
Robin.
Exactly.
I was actually thinking about robbing this place.
We should probably talk about something else, because not everyone is super comfortable with topics like these. But anyway,
these are the funnest topics, I think, because we do. You're so right in what you say, is that we all have these thoughts, and you know, whether even if they're on the more dark side of like us being the bad person in the situation, and things just happening, and you have the thoughts, but nobody wants to admit them or talk about them. So it's nice and it's refreshing to hear somebody be like, yeah, I think it's fucked up shit sometimes. And
yeah,
we all do it. Everybody listening to this does. And if you don't, then you're fucking lying, because we do. So let's just cut the bullshit and admit it. We all
very normal.
It is
very normal. Yeah,
it is very normal. All right. Okay. Future of Kalandra. Where do you see yourself going next? Do you see yourself doing more kind of Viking themed Nordics things, or taking another direction, or do you not know?
I don't think it's gonna be Viking themed, but I do think that there will be a bit more folk instruments. But I think it's going to be put in a more sort of like prog setting, but it's impossible to tell. I don't want to like foreshadow anything. I just want to be we are writing new material now, and I just want it to be very free. Whatever comes into my mind will just come, and I'll put it down on paper. So but I wouldn't like disregard the possibility that there will be some like Norse sort of influences in the music. But I guess the most like honest thing would be to say there will definitely be some sort of Nordic melancholy in there. Yes, I think that would be more correct. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's a pretty big market for reimagining folk songs. So we have like, folk songs set in like black metal, right? That's like typical Myrkur or something like that. And we have trap bass folk songs like from Bulgaria and Romania, and also from the Middle East for that matter. I feel like maybe if I can pitch something here, maybe like glam rock folk songs.
You know what? You're not completely off. Did you know?
Right.
Did you know that there's a band called Wigwam in Norway, and there are these old rockers, and they have the intro song for what is it? It's this like big bald guy, and he has this like TikTok dance intro. Man, I should really know what it's called. It's like he's like a superhero.
Sounds fascinating.
Help me out here, folks. What's it called?
I'm trying to look.
Wigwam.
I have no idea.
I'll show you right now.
You're on your own here.
The Peacemaker. Yeah.
Oh, the Peacemaker, the TV show.
Yeah, they have.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. This has come up. Okay, so yeah, so it's Peacemaker, the spin-off of the new Suicide Squad film. They made a Peacemaker solo project, didn't they? I haven't watched it yet. It looks fun. John Cena, can't ever see him.
I've seen some of it. It's okay. Yeah, I like shows that are a bit more like psychological, probably. And he's the main character is just like jumping from one action to the other without thinking, without like asking himself. Maybe I'm being too judgmental now, but your guide enjoyed it very much. I was a bit like, he doesn't ask himself if this is like the right thing to do or not. He just like jumps into one. He just is very kind of impulsive character, but I guess that is sort of the point, that you get a bit annoyed and you hate him at first, and then he's supposed to like grow and then he becomes a bit more self-aware towards the end. But yeah.
he needs to sit down and think.
I did not sell that well. Anyway, the Wigwam from Norway has the intro. Yeah. And
you sold it honestly.
You sold it honestly. That's what
I can't do it. Yeah, I guess I can't do. I can't fake it. But no one saw glam rock like having a peak at any time right now, but it is.
Kind of is. Yeah, it's weird.
Hooray for glam rock. Okay, so I would love it if you did more kind of Nordic themed things, just because I love things that are a little bit different, and everything else in this scene is very loud and powerful and kind of, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but then when you listen to the latest album that you made for the game, it's very chilled and still has these themes running through it, and I enjoy things that are just a little bit different to what everyone else is doing, because I think because Wardruna, I've said it many times on here, the Wardruna, like they took it to another level, and then there's so many people that kind of suck into that vacuum behind and want to follow and do what they do and kind of take that path. So that then when you get stuff in this genre, if it is that kind of is different and takes its own path, I really enjoy that. I think that's why I enjoyed listening to that earlier so much, because it was just something so different to what you kind of expect from Viking music, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it. We never have. Did we ever settle on a name for the genre?
It's impossible to call it Viking music because there are no finds of notes or sheet music or anything really from that time. But like we can assume from what we found in the Middle Ages and the horn, obviously, which is like 3,000 years old, that he uses in Tyr. We can make assumptions, but it's mainly about like using stuff from the past.
Are you thinking of the lure?
The lure, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't know. They are way before.
Yeah.
The Viking Age.
But they, I mean, so they were probably still there. But
I mean, it's a good question. The Bronze Age, right? So they're actually quite old. But yeah, we can assume that they had probably something similar.
I mean, the only thing we can do is like take from what we know and create something new with it.
Maybe the Galahus horns. I mean, they don't have an end, so maybe they were used for making noise with. Who knows?
Maybe gathering the cattle back from the mountain back down to the farm.
I mean, these ones were made of gold, so I don't know if that's exactly what they were.
Oh, were they? Oh,
yeah, the golden horns from Denmark. You know, the ones with the Eklewagastis Holdias Hornatawido inscription.
Wow. That must have been like a very fancy musician.
It must have been a very fancy musician. That's what I'm thinking, like the Einar Sedgwick of the day, something like that. I don't know. There's also these mysterious rattles or whatever they are from the Oseberg ship that are used in the Northmen, actually, in that scene in the where they're in the cellar underneath the temple. He's using it there. So yeah, there's like a couple of things, right? But we don't actually know how they were used.
I have a question about that. I think I might have asked this before, but we can go over it again. Because I'm sure I read, and I can't remember if it was in the ship museum or not, that they would hang the beast heads from the Oseberg ship, that they would hang in the mouth, those rattles, and they would be used to, if they were, it was about warning off evil energies, like if an evil energy come, the rattle would go. Now I don't know if I read that there or if I read it after, but obviously the beast heads at the Oseberg should have like they have like a gap for where the mouth is, where something could be threaded through, I guess.
So
that's interesting. They have that in is it Chinese culture as well?
I mean, but yeah, it would
make dragons.
Yeah, I mean,
like ear in the nose or maybe in the mouth.
What you're gonna see now is what happens all the time on the podcast is where Matthias shits on everything that I think is real and then tells me it's wrong. It's a common theme.
Well, so the basic assumption, right, that making noise will ward off evil spirits is pretty standard, right? So that might be the interpretation that you're dealing with here. Obviously, the dragon heads on the prow of the ship, we know from mentions in Landnámabók, the Icelandic book on the settlement, that you have to take those off when you come within sight of Iceland so that you don't scare the Landvættir and the land spirits. So that seems to like be a sort of like a consistent theme, that there is something about the dragon heads as like that they can scare off evil spirits, or maybe also good spirits, because the Landvættir are presumably good spirits, or at least they're spirits you want to be on good terms with if you are a Norwegian who is moving to Iceland, right? Because they live there, and
so what's the purpose of the heads? Why are they there? if you take them off when you come to land, then what's the point in having them on the?
So I actually have a bit of a theory based on my own PhD research about the dragon heads, and that is that they have a communicative relationship with the ocean, because the ocean, so this whole thing about the Midgard Serpent that everybody likes to talk about is nonsense. It's like a cartoon interpretation that Snorri Sturluson came up with. What we do have is some really awesome skaldic poetry that talk about the ocean in terms of a world encircling fish spirit of some kind. That's what the Midgardsormr in the form of Jörmungandr actually was. Jörmungandr means like the great spirit, or the immense spirit of the world, or something like that. And that is what was the Viking Age conception of the so-called Midgard Serpent. This spirit that resides in the ocean that we have to negotiate when we are sailing around in our little Viking ships, because these people were thinking like any other kind of people back then, for instance, Christianity. It's one of those systems of thought that will break those kinds of place-based interpretations of your existence down. And so what their main purpose was simply you stand there on the beach and you're about to get into your boat, and you know that you're going to be sailing for a couple of weeks or something like that, and that's going to be very dangerous. Well, what do you want to do? Well, you want the backing of all the spirits that you can find that will help you in your pursuit. And so to bring some of them on the ship too, in the form of dragon heads that will actually have a communicative relationship with that great dragon that is the ocean out there, which Thor in the stories is like, he represents the human who's negotiating the interaction with the ocean. You can easily see that in the earliest skaldic poems, where it's not about fishing as such, it's about interacting, because what all the early scouts, they are actually highlighting is how he looks the dragon in the eye. So he stands there by the prow, the gunwale, and then he, picks up the dragon and stares it in the eyes, and it's like spewing aether at them. And the interesting thing is that aether it usually means poison, but it can actually also refer to a type of ice that can be pretty debilitating when you're sailing around, because if the ice accumulates on top of your ship, you can capsize. So there's like this whole complex that has to do with actually human interaction with spirit in the idea of dragons and ships and the ocean, that we see sort of like basically just hinted at throughout. But when you take all of the hints and then you put them together, it's a very consistent mythology that they actually had. And so that is my theory on what the dragon heads are actually about, which also, makes perfect sense when you realize that so many of the Viking ships were conceived of as dragons or snakes in and of themselves. Like the biggest, the most famous one is Ormurinn Langi, the great worm, right? That Olaf Tryggvason had. And if you've sailed a Viking ship, or have you ever had the chance to go to the prow of a Viking ship and then just start shaking it like this, you'll see that if it's built correctly, which you can, for instance, go to Roskilde in Denmark, in the Viking ship museum, where they're experimenting with building in the way that they built back in the Viking Age. You can see that because of the way that the planks have been cut out of a tree, so they're not going to saw anything. What they do is that they chop them out with axes instead. So that means that they preserve all the natural lines in the wood, and so that makes it really agile. So when you go to the prow of a Viking ship that's built correctly, you can shake it, and then you'll just see it wobbling all the way down like a snake. So it's a whole sort of like metaphorical universe that we're dealing with here, that they were completely enmeshed in. and it was all because they were trying to protect their asses from drowning.
I like
mean-
that analogy there. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
He knows a thing or two. He's not just a pretty face, are you?
No, this pretty face has seen a lot of Viking ships over the years.
It's seen a lot of fucking everything to do with this stuff. I had a question, but I've completely forgotten it. Got too excited. Oh, okay. So the ocean's a fucking scary thing. So you can see how they must have. I'm trying to think how to word it, because especially back then, going and venturing on a ship for what, 3 weeks must be beyond terrifying. So I guess you would want to have as
But
many.
it's so
spirits with-
necessary because, I mean, you don't really have a choice because not much grows.
Mhm.
In Scandinavia, it's cold on the majority of the time. So you would either suffer where you are, or you would have to venture abroad to see if you could find something better.
But they
Because-
did do
so
they did do so successfully as well, though, I guess, which is
the thing about the ocean and sailing, that is the Scandinavian way. This is what combines all the Scandinavian countries, and the entire Baltic. Honestly, the ocean is the highway of the Vikings, said in sort of like a lame way, like this modern way of captioning everything. The ocean is the highway.
I'm getting a
of
fun
the
image
Vikings.
in my head. Yeah.
so that's what combines Western Scandinavia with Iceland. It's what combines Iceland with Greenland. It's what combines Norway with Denmark. It's what combines Sweden with Denmark and Sweden with Norway. The mountains are a problem. The mountains are where you have to deal with bad weather you can get lost in, like both in winter and summer. In winter, it's of course a blizzard. In summer, it's a lot of fog and rainy weather and that kind of stuff. And there are a bunch of animals there and robbers, and a lot of different things can happen in the mountains. Whereas if you sail, you are generally free of a lot of problems except for the waves. Honestly, but that's the
Except
only
for-
problem. So if you're
for drowning in monster soup.
yeah, but if you're a good sailor, which Scandinavians have always been, like there's a reason that Bronze Age carvings and rock all feature these awesome boats. It's because Scandinavians have always been good at sailing. That's what they do.
That
Mhm.
was
Right.
that was actually what you were saying there about sailing was actually some of the inspiration I also found for the track Borders. It's like I'm imagining these people hoping that the gods will save them, and it's a beautiful thing, but like in reality you're on your own.
Mhm.
Is my cruel belief
It's-
anyway, but
It's true. It must be a terrifying thing to happen if you're out in the middle of the ocean and then the weather changes. You're on your own, and you can't just get off.
Dude,
yeah,
man,
it's like who once thought gods could bring them home is
I-
the sentence. Yeah.
I have had the interesting, dubious pleasure of having to sail from a incoming storm in a Greenlandic fjord once. That was
An
pretty-
experience.
Must feel quite powerful.
I mean, shitting your pants inducing is definitely how it feels.
Yeah, I think when nature comes, there's nothing that makes you feel more insignificant, because you can't stop nature when it really turns its head. So yeah, they must have had such a special relationship with the ocean. Do we ever see like rituals or anything like that to like invoke like good luck or protection on the ocean, or was it a case of we know what we're doing, we're gonna see what happens?
There's a
You
story.
mean
again from the Icelandic material, there's a story about Helgi, I think his name is, who was like said to have converted to Christianity. And then it says, but every time he would go to sea, he would pray to Thor. So there's like that, like sort of like hangover of a pre-Christian religion.
But
he would not leave that one. Like Thor was like the guy who was gonna save him at the ocean.
Okay, so in my dumb brain, or in my kind of like basic knowledge of this stuff, see, you always see depicted, particularly in TV shows, that like Thor is not the bad one, but like the reason for the weather being shit. So like when it's like thundering or lightning, it's like Thor's angry. So like he's almost the creator of the bad weather and the bad situation. So why would you? So is it a case that you're praying or sacrificing to Thor in a sense of please be nice to us and don't get angry, or is it like protect us? Because obviously they're two very different things.
So if you look at the material, there you can go with different explanations for the image that we have of Thor today. One of the explanations that is quite likely is that he actually had multiple functions depending on which portion of Scandinavia you're in. So we know from Adam of Bremen's description of the temple in Uppsala that Thor is like in charge of the rain and such things. And we also know that in that context, it has something to do with the fertility of crops. And we see Thor's name associated in southeastern Scandinavia, at least to a reasonable degree, associated in place names with arable fields like Torsåker in Swedish, and you have a Danish Torsaya, for instance, which means the same thing, that Thor's arable lands. So there's something to suggest that he had that function, at least in some communities in Scandinavia. But then you go to the west and the north, and it looks like he is much more associated with storms and also with the problematic aspects of the ocean. And again, this can be him as sort of a human representing deity that negotiates the ocean, which is why the story about him fishing for the Midgard Serpent is so prominent. In like this is the myth that we have most sources on. We have carved images from Sweden, from Denmark, even from England, where they've carved like depictions of Thor fishing for the Midgard Serpent. And we can easily see that it's Thor. He's holding a hammer and everything. His foot has gone through the boat, like Snorri Sturluson tells us that it will. And then we have it in like multiple versions written. We have Hymiskvida, the Eddic poem, and we have Snorri Sturluson's story that most people will know, because that's the one that's written in prose and easier to access, and therefore has been transmitted in popular contexts. So we have those like that this whole mythology around Thor negotiating the ocean in the form of this world serpent. And in Iceland, it looks like he is interpreted very much in context of storms, and also the static electricity that will show up in volcanic eruptions, especially the ones that happen in glaciers. So there's like a different roles depending on where he is. Mm-hmm. And he seemed much more violent actually in the North Atlantic than he is in the southeastern parts of Scandinavia.
That maybe because the weather is more brutal and they feel like that Thor would be more aggressive there. I'm thinking when they went to America and noticed how brutal the weather can be there, they must have been like, we shouldn't stay here.
Let's get out of here.
It's wrong. He's angry.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. All right. On that note, let's wrap this up because I've got somewhere to be.
He's got plans.
I've got plans. I do have plans. Is that okay?
No.
No.
Tough.
This was a fun talk though. I learned quite a
Love.
bit, and I would have loved to chat more.
You are welcome back in the future.
Yes.
What we'll do is we'll pick a topic, and Matthias can teach us all about it, and we can just join in and talk.
Sit back and
Nerd out.
relax.
That's it. Yeah. So obviously this time we're talking about you and your music. But next time you're welcome back, and we can choose a topic that maybe you're interested in, something that might even help you with songwriting, and then we can go in that direction. I'm sure Matthias's door is always open if you ever need any help with anything. I know I'm speaking for you, Matthias, but I already know the answer.
Well, I mean, Jonas has had quite a lot of fun learning proto-Nordic from me, so yeah.
Yes. Why not someone else?
Yeah.
Katrine.
Also, Dan, are you gonna get coconut bikinis?
Oh.
What's this about?
I'm trying to get out of here. Okay, so we made a promise that I made a promise. So okay, long story short, one day we recorded a podcast and I saw a coconut in the supermarket. So I was like, I'm gonna get a coconut. It'll be funny to drink coconut milk from a coconut on the podcast. I was like, it's gonna be my thing. And then I think I had whiskey after the coconut and decided that when we hit 200 patrons on Patreon, that I will do the episode in a coconut bikini and a grass. I'm gonna add the grass skirt just because why not? Fuck it.
Yes.
And then we hit like 200. I forgot about it. I was like, that's so far off in the future. I don't need to think about that. No one's gonna remember this.
Matthias
Whatever.
took notes.
Oh,
No, it wasn't Matthias. It wasn't Matthias. It was everybody that listened. And then the closer we got, the more I got reminded. And then we got to like 185, and everyone was like, "Oh fuck, we're really really close." And then the last 15 kind of just seemingly happened overnight because everyone was like, "Fuck, let's make Dan wear a coconut bikini, I guess." And so that's the story of the coconut bikini.
So
And
when's this happening?
Well, that depends on Dan.
As soon as I can. Okay, so I've been busy. I'm going to see if I can order one maybe for when I get back next week. Let's try. It's aim for next week.
Sure.
No,
Tune in.
Poor Noah. We have
Oh,
Noah
no,
from the history
okay.
of the Viking song.
Okay,
So,
maybe not next week. We will do it. Okay, we'll do it when we do an episode when it's just me and you.
Yes,
And
not
everybody-
just like spring this on some poor guest.
Yeah, no, let's do it on the biggest guest we can get. Imagine Alexander Ludwig and I'm sat here in a fucking coconut bikini. I mean,
You gotta
You'd
do
like-
it.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, we are hopefully getting fuck, I can announce this anyway. Hopefully, Alexander Dremen is going to be joining us in June, end of June,
Yes.
which we've been
Great to
trying
hear
to
that.
get. I've been trying to set up for a while, so that's Uhtred, son of Uhtred, will be joining us, which is
Yes.
always going to be a fun chat.
Deposed Lord of Bevenborough.
Hey, maybe.
Maybe.
All right, Katrine, let people know where they can find you, your music, follow you personally, or follow the band, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, you can find my music online wherever. It's Kalandra. Kalandra. And yeah. Or you can also some I just want to clear this because sometimes when I'm performing with the Wardruna, people tag me in as Kalandra, and it's not Kalandra who's performing with Wardruna, it's Katrine Stenbekk. So yeah, you can tag my account there.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
people can follow you on Instagram. I follow you on Instagram.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm most active there. I don't write much on Facebook. I usually just do Instagram, and I've sort of given a bit up on Twitter. So yeah,
Yes. That's also just for political arguments, I think.
Yeah.
I know, and I don't have time for it.
No.
Other things.
Too busy. Okay, so yeah, Instagram. Go follow on Instagram. Listen to the music. It is very good. I enjoy it. Matthias, where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram. I still have an account there.
Why do you look so depressed when you say that?
Because social media just makes me depressed, man.
Then you don't have to. Don't do anything that doesn't make you feel happy.
Everybody follow Matthias.
That's true. But I do like people's snarky comments, though. They do make good
wind you up in a good way.
Yes.
You need to keep some public presence.
Yeah, I guess so.
For me. Just for me.
For you. Just for you.
For me.
Yes.
All right, you can follow me, Daniel_Farron1 or at Horns of Odin. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review wherever you listen to the podcast, because it makes my day when I get to read the good ones. Makes me really sad when I read the bad ones, so don't leave those. You can support us on Patreon. I think we got past 200, so the next goal is going to be 250. We said that when we hit 250, me, Matthias, and Jonas Lorentzen are going to go do a live episode in Iceland. If people want to come and watch, we're going to sort that out. But that should be good fun, because I think Iceland's the closest kind of midway point, I guess, for all three of us. Not really midway.
It's twice the travel time for me, but still, yeah.
It is, but it's also fitting.
Yes, it is fitting. Yeah. It is fitting. But no coconut bikinis.
No, 300.
Damn.
300.
300.
300. All three of us are in fucking coconut bikinis. That's...
You can't back out. You're going to piss people off. They came here for the coconut bikinis.
I don't back out on anything.
Next time it's I don't no, never mind.
Banana skirts.
Hey, I'm getting a grass skirt. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it. I'm all in. Okay. Yeah. If you can, please support on Patreon. It's the price of buying me and Matthias a cup of coffee. We're gonna introduce some new kind of educational aspects to it as well over the upcoming month. And we do try to get a bonus episode every week. We've been a little all over the place with things that have been going on for both me and Matthias, but we're getting back to that. Jonas will be back on to do the story time hopefully next week, which are well worth the subscription alone. But there's a back catalogue of extra episodes on there you can listen to, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere else at Nordic Mythology Podcast. There we go. That's the show. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome back anytime.